Gauri Nandana Gajanana, Gauri Nandana Gajanana, Girijanandana Niranjana, Girijanandana Niranjana, He Gauri Nandana Gajanana, Girijanandana Niranjana, Parvati Nandana Shobhanana, Parvati Nandana Shobhanana, Parvati Nandana Shobhanana, Parvati Nandana Shobhanana, Pahi Prabho Mam, Pahi Prasanna, Pahi Prabho Mam, Pahi Prasanna, Gauri Nandana Gajanana, Girijanandana Niranjana, He Gauri Nandana Gajanana, Girijanandana Niranjana.
Sahana avatu, Sahano Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Humble prostrations to one and all. So from today onwards, we'll be taking up a very famous Upanishad called Kathopanishad. One good thing about online classes is that there is no time limit you need to fix for these classes. For example, if it is a yajna or a camp, so there are limited classes available. So in those limited classes, you will have to finish the entire portion. So that problem is not there when we have these online classes. So therefore, we will take up this Upanishad slowly, explaining each and every verse in complete detail, as best as we can. If this question is asked to most of the seekers, which is the one Upanishad you like the most? If this question is asked to the seekers, those who have studied all the Upanishads, especially the main 10 Upanishads, if this question is asked, which is the Upanishad you like the most? So we find that majority of the seekers, they say it is Kathopanishad. So that itself is the glory of this Upanishad. The Upanishad which is loved by majority of the people. Very interestingly, we find that even in Bhagavad Gītā, maximum verses have come from Kathopanishad. Bhagavan has literally taken these verses from Kathopanishad as it is and he has put it in Bhagavad Gītā. So that is another glory of Kathopanishad. That very many verses in Kathopanishad, these verses have found its place in Bhagavad Gītā. Sarvopanishado gavo dogdha gopalanandanaha partho vatsasudhir bhokta dugdham gītamritam mahat. So if all the Upanishads are cows, if all the Upanishads are compared with cows, then Bhagavad Gītā is the milk of those cows, it is said. Meaning Bhagavad Gītā is the essence of all Upanishads. So we can say maximum milk has been milked out from Kathopanishad cow as far as Bhagavad Gītā is concerned. So this Kathopanishad comes in Krishna Yajurveda. The name of this Upanishad, it is Kathopanishad. This name has come because this comes under the Katha Shakha. So there are some 101 shakhas, branches in Krishna Yajurveda. This Kathopanishad comes in the Katha Shakha. So therefore, this Upanishad has been named Kathopanishad. There is another reason why this Upanishad is named Kathopanishad. They say it is because Katha Shoke. Katha means sorrow. This Upanishad starts with a story, a tragic story where the father loses his son, his beloved son, to Lord Death. So that story comes. So that story is a very tragic story. So Katha also means shoka, sorrow. So maybe this Upanishad was named Kathopanishad because of this tragic story. Sometimes this Upanishad is also called as Kāthaka Upanishad. That is because the Rishi to whom this Upanishad was revealed, that Rishi's name was Kāthaka Rishi. So therefore this Upanishad is also known as Kāthaka Upanishad. So anyway, in this Upanishad we have around 119 verses, and these verses are spread out in 2 chapters, and each chapter we have 3 sections or vallis as it is called. So 2 chapters, each chapter having 3 vallis, 3 sections. So there are total 6 vallis, 6 sections. So we are now going to see the first section. So before we enter into Kathopanishad, every Upanishad starts with a Shanti Mantra. So we will first see the Shanti Mantra of this Upanishad and then we will enter into the text proper. So the Shanti Mantra of Krishna Yajurveda is a very famous Shanti Mantra. So we will just chant it once. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So this is the famous Shanti Mantra. I am sure all of us, we already know. So today we will see the meaning of this Shanti Mantra. Very many times we know the mantra, but we don't know the meaning of these mantras. So Om, it starts with Om. Om means Lord. So this is called Shanti Mantra. So what is the meaning of mantra? Mantra means mananat trayate iti mantraha. That which protects you when you chant it. Mananat uccharanat trayate iti mantraha. So that mantra which protects you when you chant it and when you reflect upon it. This is how a mantra is defined. Trayate, it protects you. So this is called a Shanti Mantra. The mantra which when you chant, it gives you Shanti, it gives you peace. So why are we chanting this Shanti Mantra? We are chanting this Shanti Mantra so that the mind attains Shanti, peace. For any study, the most essential thing is the mind has to be quiet and peaceful. Because an agitated mind cannot concentrate. An agitated mind cannot absorb the knowledge. So therefore it is necessary that a student has to quieten the mind before entering into any study. It is something like sharpening the axe before cutting anything. In the same way, we must quieten the mind before applying this mind to studies. So Shanti Mantra quietens the mind. Shanti Mantra makes the mind sattvic. It makes the mind divine. It makes the mind pure. It makes the mind quiet, silent. So the teacher and the taught, they sit together, they chant it together so that a divine atmosphere is created. A study-friendly atmosphere is created. And this is absolutely essential before study begins. So Shanti Mantra. So this is the reason we chant this mantra. So what is the meaning of this mantra? So it starts with Om. Om means O Lord. O Lord, who is the support of this universe, who is the very essence of this universe, who is the very substratum of this universe, who is the only reality in this universe. And also in each and every individual, this reality, this Om, this Lord, He is the one who is the guide in us. He is the one who is a life in us. He is the one who is the controller in us. He is the one who is the very essence in us. So the whole prayer is directed to that Supreme Lord who is the very essence of the individual and who is the very essence of the whole world. So unto that Lord this prayer is addressed. So, O Lord. So the first line is Sahana Vavatu. Sahana Vavatu. Now here, very many times we hear people chanting Sahana Bhavatu. Please understand, it is not Sahana Bhavatu, it is Sahana Vavatu. This has to be kept in mind. This mistake has come because very many times we chant Sarvesham Swasti Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. So therefore we think it is Sahana Bhavatu. So it is not Sahana Bhavatu, it is Sahana Vavatu. So what is this Sahana Vavatu? It is Saha Nau Avatu. Saha Nau Avatu. So by the way, we are following the Chinmaya Mission book. So this is the book which we are following. This is a new edition. So now this mantra you will find in Roman number 17. So just before the first page you will find this mantra. So we will be following this mantra, this book, for our discussion of Kathopanishad. Right. So Sahana Vavatu is nothing but Saha Nau Avatu. Saha, together. Now, both of us. Both of us means teacher and the taught. Saha Nau Avatu. Avatu means to protect. So the prayer is, O Lord, please protect both of us. Please protect both of us. Now naturally the question will come, protection from what? So in our tradition, we ask the Lord to protect us from the tāpa-trayas, the three types of tāpa, difficulties, problems, obstacles. So what are the three types of tāpa? The first one, adhyatmika tāpa. The second one, adhi bhautika tāpa. And the third one, adhi daivika tāpa. These are the three types of obstacles that can come during our studies. So what is the first one? Adhyatmika tāpa. Adhyatmika means adhi atma, pertaining to oneself. So obstacles which can come from within is called adhyatmika tāpa. So what are the obstacles which can come from within? So maybe the person is not interested in studies. Lack of interest in studies, it is an obstacle from within. Lack of faith in the knowledge. Lack of concentration. Or maybe some physical disease which is not allowing me to concentrate, allowing me to study. So these are all the obstacles that can come from within. So these obstacles are called adhyatmika tāpa. This is the first one. The second one is adhi bhautika tāpa. So what is adhi bhautika tāpa? The obstacles that can come from the surroundings, the obstacles that are known to me. So I know the sources of those obstacles. So these obstacles which come from the surrounding, these obstacles are called adhi bhautika tāpa. Suppose you are studying and from the nearby flat or nearby room, some youngster keeps that full volume rock music blaring very loud. You are not able to listen. You are not able to pay attention. Now this can be an adhi bhautika tāpa. So any disturbance coming from the external surroundings, or you are troubled by a lot of mosquitoes in the room, this can be another adhi bhautika tāpa. So there can be so many reasons. So all those obstacles which are coming from the immediate surrounding, the sources are known to you, all those obstacles are called adhi bhautika tāpa. Now the third one is adhi daivika tāpa. The obstacles which come from the sources unknown, where you have no control at all. So natural calamities like earthquakes and tsunamis, etc., where you have absolutely no control. lightning. So these are the obstacles coming from, say, cosmic forces. So they are called as Adhi Daivika Tapa. So Adhyatmika Tapa, obstacles from within, from one's own self. Adhi Bhautika Tapa, obstacles from the surroundings. Adhi Daivika Tapa, obstacles coming from the sources unknown. These are the three types of obstacles. So the first prayer is Bhagavan Saha Nau Avatu. Bhagavan, please protect us. Protect us from these three obstacles. Only then the study can proceed. Only when you protect us from these difficulties, from these obstacles, only then the study can proceed. So Bhagavan, please shower your grace and blessing upon all of us. You are the Lord of this universe. You are the Lord of these bodies. So therefore definitely you can. Your grace and blessings can have an effect. So therefore Bhagavan, this is our sincere request. May we study without any hindrance from within or without, from inside or outside. This is the prayer. Saha Nau Avatu. Avatu means to protect. O Lord, protect both of us from these three obstacles. The next one is Saha Nau Bhunaktu. Saha, together. Now, both of us. Bhunaktu. Bhunaktu means to enjoy. O Lord, may both of us enjoy this very process of learning. So the teacher must enjoy the process of teaching, and the student must enjoy the process of learning. Together they enjoy this very process of study. So this is another request to the Lord. Bhagavan, please bless us that both of us enjoy. The tragedy of this modern times is neither the teacher is interested in teaching nor the student is interested in learning. This is a tragedy of modern schools and colleges. So when the students find that the teacher is absent, the professor is absent, they celebrate. What a tragedy. So when it was announced that the schools and colleges will be shut because of COVID, children were celebrating, youngsters were celebrating, because now they don't have to study. So such a thing should never happen. So here the prayer is, Bhagavan Sahanau Bhunaktu, may we enjoy this process. What a beautiful prayer. In fact, this prayer should be chanted in every school and college before the study begins. So meaningful it is. Sahanau Bhunaktu. O Lord, bless us that we enjoy this process of learning. So teacher enjoys the process of teaching. Now the question is, why should the teacher enjoy teaching? Now as far as we are concerned, the subject matter is self-knowledge. And what is the nature of Atma, self? The nature of Atma is, it is Satchit Ananda Swarupa. It is of the nature of bliss. So naturally, a teacher who is teaching the nature of the self, the nature of the blissful self, the nature of Ananda Swarupa Atma, naturally when you teach something which is of the nature of Ananda, you must get Ananda. You will enjoy it. So the beauty of self-knowledge is the one who teaches it enjoys it. When you teach, you enjoy. When you reflect, you enjoy. When you meditate, you enjoy. When you listen, you enjoy. When you learn, you enjoy. Why do you enjoy? You enjoy it because the nature of Atma is, it is Ananda Swarupa. It is blissful. So anything which you think, which is of the nature of bliss, naturally you must experience bliss. So as far as self-knowledge is concerned, this is absolutely right. The teacher enjoys teaching, explaining, expounding, thinking upon this blissful self. And the students also enjoy. The beauty of self-knowledge is it puts an end to all sufferings. It permanently puts an end to all sufferings in life. This is the beauty of self-knowledge. So naturally, when a teacher is teaching this knowledge with a sincere desire to put an end to all miseries, so when he teaches, he knows that he is doing the right thing because he is removing the suffering of others. You will always find that whenever you remove the sufferings of others with a sincere heart, with a pure heart, you will always find that there is joy in the heart. Whenever you try to wipe the tears of others, remove the sufferings of others, you will always find that heart becomes joyful. You enjoy the very process of removal of suffering. Therefore, the teacher enjoys this process of teaching. Another reason why he enjoys is he is doing the job of this Guru Parampara. So, our ancestors, they have given this knowledge to us. So, it is our duty, it is our responsibility to pass on this knowledge to the next generation. So, when we do our duty, when we fulfill our responsibility, there is a natural joy emanating from the heart. So, therefore, teacher enjoys this teaching. Also, whenever you teach any subject, you will find you get more and more clarity in that subject. Because you are thinking from different directions, you are thinking deep. So what happens is clarity comes. The students ask so many questions, and all these questions make you think. And the more you think, more you contemplate, more you meditate upon any subject, clarity comes. And the beauty of teaching is the more you teach, again clarity comes. Clarity comes, depth comes. So that becomes another source of enjoyment. As far as a teacher is concerned, he enjoys teaching because every time he teaches, there is more clarity. And that is why in Chinmaya mission, we encourage people to take classes on Bhagavad Gītā, on Upanishad. Because when you teach, you learn more. Even if there are 2 or 3 people, call them and then start teaching. Take up some text and start discussing. So what happens when you teach, when you discuss, when you reflect, there is more and more clarity, more and more clarity. In Chinmaya mission, the motto is maximum happiness for maximum people for maximum period of time. How can you give maximum happiness? There is only one way: make them revel in their own self, turn their attention towards their self, make them think about their own self, discuss about this self. So therefore the study groups were formed. All over the world, there are so many places where study classes are happening. So what is the beauty of this study class? The more and more you revel upon your own supreme self, there is more and more happiness. This is the way Chinmaya mission spreads happiness to maximum people. So therefore we encourage people to take classes. Because when you take class, you think over it, you reflect upon it, you meditate upon it. Only then you can speak about it. So, Sahanau Bhunaktu, O Lord, may we enjoy this very process of learning. And every student also enjoys this process because this knowledge is something which puts an end to all suffering. This knowledge is the practical means and the permanent means to put an end to all sufferings in life. So therefore the student also eagerly learns, and with full of joy he learns this knowledge. He becomes a seeker of this knowledge, and even when he is learning this knowledge, even when he is gaining this knowledge, there is only joy. So the teacher is teaching with joy, the students are learning with joy. So in an environment filled with joy, this learning is happening. Such an environment, it is the job of the teacher and the student to create in our schools and colleges. This is the responsibility of the management to create that kind of joyful environment to study. Right. So this is the prayer. O Lord, Sahanau Bhunaktu, may we enjoy this process of learning. Right. And one more thing, yes. One more thing is, as far as the self-knowledge is concerned, if you find this joy emanating from the heart, when you teach, when you reflect, when you meditate, when you listen, if you find that there is this joy, understand you are really blessed. How do we know that Bhagavan's blessing is upon us? This is one sign. When you study self-knowledge, when you listen to self-knowledge, there is joy in the heart. Bhagavan is as though giving this joy in the heart, because he says as though your heart is pure. So go ahead, this is the highest knowledge, go ahead and get it. This is the meaning of that joy. If the mind is impure, you will not find any joy while studying this. So if you find this joy while studying the scriptural text, understand you are indeed blessed, because this joy indicates that you have a pure heart. Yes. And as the mind becomes more and more pure, you will automatically be gravitated towards this knowledge. This is the glory of spiritual knowledge. The more and more the heart becomes pure, the more and more you are attracted towards this knowledge. Yes. So, Sahanau Bhunaktu, may we enjoy this very process of learning Bhagavan. The next line, Saha Viryam Karavavahai, Saha together, Karavavahai, may we put forth what? Viryam. Viryam means effort. O Lord, together may we put forth effort. So, on one side, the teacher is putting forth effort in trying to make the student understand. And on the other side, the student is putting forth effort to understand what is told. Saha Viryam Karavavahai. Wherever there is joy, effort is natural. So here we find the student and the teacher, they enjoy this process. So because there is enjoyment, there is wholehearted effort also. So what is the attitude of the teacher? The attitude of the teacher is he is trying his level best to give whatever knowledge he has unto the student. He is trying to come down to the level of the student in order to make the student understand this knowledge. Now this teacher is a broad-minded teacher, not a narrow-minded teacher. So who is a narrow-minded teacher? A teacher who will not teach everything, because he doesn't want his students to overtake him as far as learning is concerned. Now such teachers are narrow-minded teachers. So therefore they don't give everything, because they don't want the students to go higher than them. But what about broad-minded teachers? They give everything to the students. In fact, they rejoice when their own students excel them. This is the nature of broad-mindedness. So here is a teacher who is putting forth all effort to ensure that the student is getting everything. So for that he uses anecdotes and similes and day-to-day examples. Case histories. Our Puja Gurudev was one such great teacher. So he used varieties of means to create interest in the public, to create interest in scriptures. So what all means he had used in order to attract the attention of the people, to inspire them to study the scriptures and to live the scriptures. This is the greatness of a teacher. So sahaviryam karavavahe. So the teacher puts forth all effort in making the student understand the subtle concepts of the scriptures. And on the other hand, the student also, he is also putting forth effort. So now the beauty is, when the teacher is not able to convey the concepts to the student, the teacher doesn't say that the student is inefficient, therefore I could not teach. No. The teacher says, maybe my teaching is not up to the level, that is why I could not convey this knowledge to the student. So he finds fault with himself. He finds fault with his own teaching. He says, I am inefficient, therefore I could not give knowledge. And what is the attitude of the student? If he is not able to understand, he will not say, the teacher is not good, therefore I did not understand. No, he will say, teacher is perfect. Maybe it is because of my inability, my lack of preparation, that I could not gain knowledge. So it is not the problem with the teacher, it is a problem with me. So with this attitude, the student also works hard to gain this knowledge. Now see that attitude. And the student, he is absolutely humble. He has total faith in the teacher. And even when the questions are raised by the student, he is not asking question to show off his knowledge or to test the teacher or to compare the teacher with somebody. No. He is not asking question with all these intentions. He is asking only with a sincere desire to know. So here is a student who is absolutely humble. Humility is absolutely essential for gaining knowledge. So here is a student who is absolutely humble, who has absolute faith in the scriptures and in the teacher, and who has an intense desire to know, and who is ready to put forth any amount of effort to gain knowledge. So this is the attitude of the student. So even when explanations are given, if he doesn't understand, he doesn't find fault with the teacher, he finds fault with himself. He says, I am not able to understand, but teacher is always right. Even though it is not my experience, whatever he has said, but he alone is right. Even though I am not able to understand, but he alone is right. Now this is called as faith. So with this faith, with humility, he proceeds in the path of knowledge. So both of them are putting forth effort. So naturally what happens when effort is put? So the next one, Tejasvinau avadhitam astu. This is the fourth line. Tejasvina avadhitam astu. Tejasvi now adhitam astu. Adhitam, whatever we have learned. Adhitam tejasvi astu. Tejasvi means bright and brilliant. O Lord, whatever we have learned, let that knowledge be bright and brilliant. This is another prayer. Let the knowledge be bright and brilliant. So what are the stages necessary to make the knowledge bright and brilliant? What are the stages which we have to keep in mind? What are the factors which we have to keep in mind so that the knowledge becomes bright and brilliant? So number one, we must approach the knowledge with total faith. Faith in God, faith in the scriptures, faith in the teacher, and faith in oneself, that I can gain this knowledge. So first one is approaching knowledge with total, complete faith. First step. Second step, listening to this knowledge with complete attention, with total attention. Now this is another very important aspect. So the whole thing is Shravanam. You have to listen to the teachings from the teacher. Now there is a difference between hearing and teaching. When you don't pay attention to what you hear, then that is called as hearing. When you pay attention, that is called as listening. So there is a difference between hearing and listening. Now there is something called selective listening. You must be careful about this also. Very many times people used to listen to Gurudev, not listening to the scriptures, but they were more tuned to his jokes, his storytelling, his English. They were focusing upon his oratory skills. Now this is called as selective listening. You are only listening to certain things. So what kind of Shravanam a Vedantic student must have? His Shravanam should be such that he is grasping the essence of the entire teaching. What is the central message which the teacher is trying to give? There is a central message. In order to make that message clear, he is using so many stories and anecdotes and jokes and etc. All those things are secondary, but through all these stories etc., he is trying to convey a point. He is trying to make us understand something. What is that central teaching? What is that central message that person should be able to grasp? Now this is called as Shravanam. Many times people get stuck up in all the non-essentials and the main thing is forgotten. So you ask the person, oh, you have listened to such and such great man, so what did he say? So many times people who listen to Gurudev, they say, I did not understand what he said, but he told such and such joke. He narrated such and such story beautifully. Oh, what an English. Now see, now this is not called listening. This may be selective listening. He is only listening to some of the jokes, some of the stories, pronunciations, etc. No. So, the first step is approaching this knowledge with total faith. The second step is listening to this knowledge with total attention. Paying attention to the central message of what is being taught. This is the second step. The third step is remembering this knowledge, giving it the highest priority. So whatever you consider important, there is a tendency that the mind stores it. Whatever you consider as the highest priority in life, whatever you consider as important in life, the tendency of the mind is it registers it, it absorbs it, it stores it, it remembers it. So considering this knowledge as the most important, one must be able to grasp it, absorb it, remember it. This is the third step. And then reflection with total dedication. So once you have listened, now you have to reflect, you have to do mathanam. churning. You have to think over it. You have to reflect upon it. There may be so many doubts which may come. So you have to clear all those doubts. So what happens is this information which you have gathered becomes conviction. Conviction is nothing but doubt-free knowledge. And this happens only when you reflect more and more upon these teachings which you have gained from the teacher. So constant reflection with total dedication. And then what? Then it is application of this knowledge with persistence. You have to apply this knowledge. So once you are convinced that this is the knowledge of the scriptures, you are convinced about the teachings, now you have to put that teaching into practice. This is called as application. Constant application with tremendous persistence, again and again, again and again, again and again, you have to live this knowledge. You have to apply this knowledge in all situations in life. This has to be constantly done so that the right ways of thinking and behaving becomes your habit. So you are actually transforming a habit in yourself. You are replacing the old habits with the new habits. You are replacing the erroneous notions of the past with the right understanding from the new teachings which you have got. So there is a replacement, and this can be done only through repeated practice, repeated application of this knowledge. And then what happens is your knowledge becomes tejasvi. So see the number of steps involved. The first, approaching the knowledge with faith. Second, listening to this knowledge with great attention. Third, remembering this knowledge, considering it to be the highest. Fourth, reflecting upon this knowledge with great dedication. And fifth, application of this knowledge with total persistence. And then what is the result? The result is total transformation. The knowledge becomes tejasvi. Tejasvi means bright and brilliant. Now what do you mean bright and brilliant knowledge? So one parameter of this knowledge becoming tejasvi is there is clarity, there is peace, there is ease. So while handling the situation, you have to decide what is right, what is wrong, what I should do, what I should not do. While handling the situation, you have to make decisions. You have to discriminate. So while making decisions, there is clarity. Clarity at the intellect level. Intellect is not allowed confused. Everything is black and white for you. This is something to be done. This need not be done, should not be done. There is a very clear understanding between what to be done and what not to be done. This is one expression of bright and brilliant knowledge. So as far as decision making is concerned, there is no confusion. This is first stage. The second stage is after deciding something, you have to execute it. So if your knowledge is bright and brilliant, then there is ease of execution. So there is a clarity with regard to decision making. Second, there is ease with regard to execution. Whatever you have decided, you have to live it. And while living, you have to use your body, your mind, your intellect, your senses. You have to put it into practice. You have to execute it. While execution, if your mind is filled with ragadvesha, likes and dislikes, If the mind is filled with vasanas, various kinds of tendencies, then it will be very difficult for you to put it into practice. Decision making is easy, but execution will be very difficult because the mind will not allow. The mind which is filled with raga, dveshas and vasanas, such a mind will not allow you to do what you know it to be right. So such a struggle will happen if the knowledge has not become bright and brilliant, Tejasvi. So what happens when that knowledge becomes bright and brilliant? Decision making, there is an easiness because there is clarity. So clarity in decision making and ease in execution. This is the second stage. You are easily able to execute because your mind, your senses, everything listens to you. You don't have to struggle with it. This also is a sign of knowledge. You don't struggle with your instruments in order to execute what you have already decided. This is the sign of Tejasvita of knowledge. And the third, once you have executed, once the action has been done, there is peace. So clarity, ease and peace. So once action has been done, you have done the right action. So there is no guilty conscience. There is no conscience prick. In fact, there is only a sense of fulfillment that yes, you have done what you are supposed to do. So there is peace. So after action, there is peace. So before action, while decision making, there is clarity. While performing action, there is ease. And after performing action, there is peace. So clarity, ease, peace. This is what is Tejasvita with respect to knowledge. You are able to handle any situation easily because there is clear-cut thinking and there is effortlessness in execution and there is peace after execution. This is one parameter which can measure the brightness and brilliance of our knowledge. How easily we are handling the situations of the world. How easily and effortlessly and spontaneously we are responding to the situations of the world. So before handling the situation, there is peace. While handling the situation, there is peace. And after handling the situation also, there is peace. If the peace continues throughout, then understand that knowledge in that aspect has become Tejasvi. So this is one parameter with respect to handling situations in life. So within you are peaceful and with the world you are harmonious. So there is peace and harmony. This is the sign that knowledge has become Tejasvi. Another parameter is about one's own personality. What happens when a person grows in knowledge, evolves in knowledge? What happens? When a person evolves in spirituality, what happens is his personality becomes a sweet personality. What do you mean a sweet personality? A personality in which the virtues of life are reflected. Such a personality is called a sweet personality. So in that personality you will find love, compassion, straightforwardness, humility, forgiveness. All those great virtues you can find in that person. There is a sweetness when you deal with that person, when you talk to that person, when you are with that person, there is a kind of sweetness. There is peace. So another parameter that this knowledge is becoming bright and brilliant in our personality is that our personality becomes a sweet personality. As Pujya Gurudev used to say, putting sugar in coffee alone will not do. You have to stir it. And what is the proof that the sugar has become one with the coffee? The coffee becomes sweet. In the same way, merely gathering information from the scriptures, from the teachers, that alone will not do. we will have to digest that knowledge into ourselves. The information has to become conviction, and that information has to become transformation in us. Only then can we say knowledge has become bright and brilliant. Tejasvi. Tejasvi, now avadhitam astu. Whatever we learn, may that knowledge become tejasvi, bright and brilliant in us. And the last instruction, ma vidvishavahai. O Lord, may we not hate each other. Now this is also a very important instruction. The teacher and the taught, they are together. As far as human beings are concerned, we all have imperfections in us. We all have imperfections. And the natural tendency of the mind is to focus upon the imperfections in others. This is the natural tendency of the mind. Why is the mind naturally inclined to find fault with others, to find defect in others, to find imperfection? Why is the mind naturally inclined to do that? The mind is naturally inclined to do because the generally mind is ruled by the ego. And the ego's job is to find fault with others. Because whenever I find fault in others, somewhere indirectly I feel that I am superior to others. And when I find I am superior to others, there is a subtle egoistic joy. So in order to experience that subtle egoistic joy, the egoistic mind always revels in the imperfections of others. That's why we tend to gossip also. So there is a psychological reason behind. So the tendency of the mind is to find fault with others. And what happens when you find fault with others? You start disliking them, you start hating them. Dislike, hatred, etc. comes when you see imperfections in others. So the instruction here is, may you not hate each other. Oh Lord, may we not hate each other. Ma vidvishavahai. A teacher will have imperfection. Maybe his knowledge is not perfect, or even if the knowledge is perfect, he is not able to teach it well, communicate it well. That can be an imperfection. Or it is possible that he has the knowledge also and he is able to teach also, but he is not putting it into practice. This can be another imperfection. Or maybe he is partial to the students. This can be another. So there can be very many imperfections in the teacher. So the instruction to the student is, don't pay attention to the imperfections in the teacher and spoil your own spiritual evolution. See the goodness in others, meditate upon the goodness in others and make use of that goodness for our own spiritual benefit. So in the same way, students also may have a lot of imperfection. There may be students who are not interested in studies. They are not able to concentrate. They are very much distracted. They are irregular in the class. That is also possible. So such kind of students also we find. So the instruction to the teacher is, not hate your students. Because all students cannot be of equal caliber. Some are highly evolved, some are not very evolved, some are medium, some are inferior. All types of students will be there. Let not their imperfection lead you to hate them. This is the instruction to the teacher. So there is an instruction to both of them. Let the whole teaching happen in an environment of love, not hatred. Let there be harmony, let there be mutual love, mutual acceptance. Doesn't matter if the teacher is not teaching well, keep loving him. Doesn't matter if the student is not studying well, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter even if the knowledge is not happening tejas, doesn't matter even if that knowledge is not becoming tejasvi. Let there be this relationship of love. Let that love remain constant. This is the instruction. Don't make your mind impure by hating others. Because the most important thing in life is a pure mind. In fact, interestingly, we find that if a person has a pure mind, he will gain knowledge irrespective of the quality of the teacher. And if a person has an impure mind, he will not gain knowledge even if he is exposed to the greatest teacher. This we find in life. The best example is our Ekalavya. He was rejected by his teacher. But Ekalavya had tremendous amount of devotion, respect and reverence for the teacher. He made the murti of Dronacharya and then he started practicing archery. And what was the result? He became one step even greater than Dronacharya's most beloved disciple Arjuna. Ekalavya became even superior to Arjuna. This is what a pure mind does. If a person has a pure mind, even if the teacher rejects him, even if he gets an inferior teacher, doesn't matter, this man will get the highest knowledge. On the other hand, you may be in the company, in the association of the greatest teacher of the world, but if the mind is impure, then you are not going to gain anything in life. That foreign lady who was with Mata Mritanandamayi, Holy Mother, I think she was there with Mother for almost 10 to 20 years. She was very close to Mother. She was doing a lot of service, etc. But finally what happened? After some 10-20 years of living with so close to such a great spiritual personality, she comes out and writes a book. I think some holy hell or something like that, criticizing Mother. You see, if the mind is impure, you see impurity everywhere. You see impurity even in your teacher, even in your guru. And finally, who is the loser? Not the guru, but we ourselves. So therefore, the instruction is Mavidvishavahe. May you not hate and make your mind impure. O Lord, may we not hate each other and make our mind impure. So whatever be the condition, whatever be the situation, let us love each other. Let there be mutual love, mutual affection, mutual cooperation. Let the whole teaching happen in an environment of peace, love and harmony. Mavidvishavahe. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So 3 times Shanti. Om. Let there be peace. Let there be peace at the Adhyatmika level. Let there be peace at the Adi Bhautika level. Let there be peace at the Adi Devika level. Bhagavan, please remove all obstacles. Let there be peace at all levels. And please bless us. Remove all obstructions as far as this learning is concerned. Bless us so that we are able to gain this knowledge. So this is the Shanti Mantra. Now we will enter into Kathopanishad in the next class. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Purna Brahma Purushottama Punya Nama Sita Rama. Purna Brahma Raghukulabhe Purna Chandrama. Raghukulabhe Purna Chandrama. Rajani Chara Samara Bhima अगणित गुणगणाधाम अखिल लोक क्षेम धाम अखिल लोक क्षेम धाम पूर्ण ब्रह्मा पुरुषोत्तम पुण्य नाम सीताराम पूर्ण ब्रह्मा इंद्रनील घनश्यामा इंद्रनील घनश्यामा इंदिरामनोधिराम वृन्दारकमुनिललाम वृन्दारकमुनिललाम वन्दनीय भक्त प्रेम वन्दनीय भक्त प्रेम पूर्ण ब्रह्मा पुरुषोत्तम पुण्य नाम सीताराम पूर्ण ब्रह्मा अक्षरेड्य आप्तकाम अक्षरेड्य आप्तकाम सूक्ष्म स्थूल कृता नियम अक्षरेड्य आप्तकाम सूक्ष्म स्थूल कृता नियम लक्ष्मीनारायण सुगम लक्ष्मणाग्रज जायते नमः पूर्ण ब्रह्मा पुरुषोत्तम पुण्य नाम सीताराम पूर्ण ब्रह्मा